Ornaments are objects that are used to make a surface or the human body look more attractive. Ornaments worn on the human body specifically are referred to as jewelry. Ornaments serve different functions. There is identification, where some tribes wear specific ornaments that uniquely identify them. For example, the Kikuyu with a style of earrings, as seen here, and the Maasai with a beaded collars. In social functions, different ornaments may be worn by different groups to show a certain difference. For example, age, where different Maasai collars are worn by different age groups, as seen here. For aesthetic purposes, this is where ornaments or jewelry is worn to enhance the appearance or beautify a surface or someone. In ritual, religious, and ceremonious functions, this is where jewelry is specific to certain ceremonies and are not worn by everyone or even every day. For example, the priestly jewelry or even bridal jewelry. For economic purposes, jewelry and ornaments are made to be sold for commercial reasons. Most jewelry is made using beads. Beads are made out of various materials. We have beads made out of wood, bone, metal, plastic beads, papier mache. When newspapers are soaked into water into a mushy state, they're dried a little bit and they're rolled into balls, which are then bored at the center. Boring is creating a hole, and then painted and varnished. Magazine paper is where glossy magazine paper is cut in strips, which are then rolled together and either glued and varnished to give a glossy finish. Beadwork techniques are the different ways of joining beads together to create ornaments. In strung beadwork, the beads are strung or placed one by one onto a strong piece of thread. In knotted beadwork, the beads are strung onto a thread and a knot is tied before or after one or more beads. In netted beadwork, the beads are woven into a branch-like network to create a piece that looks like this. In Maasai collar, the beads are created by being strung on circular wires which are stiffened by the use of spacers. The spacers also separate different bands of colors. In lazy stitched beadwork technique, beads are strung on a thread and then the thread is sewed on a piece of leather at the beginning of the thread and the end of the thread. In top stitched beadwork technique, every individual bead is individually stitched on top of a surface like leather. In woven beadwork technique, the beads are woven on wefts that interlace, creating different patterns. Some of the accessories that jewelry needs so that they stay secure when worn are hooks. These are pieces that are carved of wire that are attached to an earring. Studs. These are earrings that have crystals with an extended wire for wearing. Spacers are decorative metal pieces that are interspaced with beads for either beauty or to reduce friction between beads. The Maasai collar spacers are long, thin metal pieces with several holes through which the wires go through. Pendant is a piece of ornament that hangs from a chain that is worn around the neck, and it is mostly found in necklaces. Fasteners are the accessories that are used to secure bracelets and necklaces when being worn at the edges, and they are of many different types. Keyring or a jump ring are used to join a pendant to the chain or a hook to an earring. There are several techniques of decorating ornaments after they have been finished, and painting is one of them, which is applying color, or printing, either applying prints in relief, intaglio, or by serigraphy onto an ornamented surface. Carving, where you carve out patterns of the ornament if it is big enough for it. And casting, where a mold is used to create a design and then metal ornaments, for example aluminium or zinc, are beaten into shape by placing them over the design of the mold. Plating is where twisting 3 strands of a material is done repeatedly to form a pattern which is then attached onto an ornament directly. And burning is where designs can be created by the direct use of a flame. When creating ornaments using metal, several factors have to be considered as it is not an easy malleable material. Metal processes. These are some of the techniques used to turn metal into a material that can be worked on, and they include annealing, which is the process of heating the metal to reduce its hardness; forging, which is heating a metal until it is red hot and then heating it with a hammer to the required shape; hammering is ideally heating a sheet of metal to the required shape using metal hammers; in melting, metal is heated until it liquefies and then it is poured into a mold with the required shape. In twisting, metal wires are twisted or curled into patterns by the use of pliers. Soldering is the joining of two pieces of metal using an alloy or a filler that has lower melting point than both pieces which are being joined together. Smelting is the process of extracting metal from its ore by heating and melting it. Metal decoration techniques. There are several techniques of decorating metal ornaments, and we have embossing, which is creating either raised or recessed relief designs on metal. A sheet of metal is placed over a design in relief and hammered down to leave raised patterns. In stamping, a flat sheet of metal is laid on a surface and a raised design is stamped on it, leaving a sunken pattern. In inlaying, grooves are cut out of a surface and then metal is fitted and hammered in. In piercing, we simply have bored holes in a pattern done creatively. In impressing, it is making designs onto a metal surface using a stamp which leaves sunken designs. Filigree is having very fine, delicate ornamental work of mostly gold or silver, where a metal wire is melted into liquid and then dropped into small bead-like droplets. Some of the tools used when working with metal are cutting tools that include shears, which are used to cut sheet metal, or tin snips that can be used to cut wires. We have holding tools like tongs, which hold hot metal, and pliers. Compression tools are used to hold down metal like clamps and anvils on which metals are worked on. And lastly, we have the heating tools like hammers, which are specifically made for working with metal.